this is Angela Roberts of Tasting Nashville. Today I'm going to show you how to make Southern fluffy buttermilk biscuits. They're so easy with this technique that I created that you'll be able to make them every day. I'm not sure you should do that, but you'll want to. So let's start making biscuits. I've sifted 2 cups of white lily flour, which is a soft winter wheat flour, into a wide bottomed bowl. I'm going to make the biscuits completely in the bowl. I'm not going to roll them out. That's one of the cool techniques that I use. Now I'm going to just make sure that my flour is aerated. That makes the biscuit fluffy. I'm going to add a tablespoon of sugar, teaspoon of salt, a whole tablespoon of baking powder. That's going to get the biscuit to rise. I'm just going to make sure that's all aerated. Now I want you to take note of what my butter looks like. I've cut it into tiny little cubes and I've had it sitting in the refrigerator, actually in the freezer for 15 minutes. If you go beyond 15 minutes, it's going to be a little too hard to work with. 10 minutes, 15 minutes is about right. So I'm going to dump 6 tablespoons of butter into the flour. And now I'm going to mix this with my hands. Now the way that I came up with this hand recipe, instead of using like a pastry cutter or cutting the shortening in with knives, is I wanted to teach kids how to do this and I didn't want them to hurt themselves. So one day I decided to just do it like this, and I've been doing it like this ever since. I think it's perfect. What we want, we still want little tiny pieces of butter, small little maybe little smaller than pea size, because as the butter melts inside the flour in the oven, it creates a steam which gives you your flaky biscuit. And this is pretty easy. You know, the reason too I don't like to use a rolling pin or a roll pat and take it out is we don't make as much of a mess, so you could actually make biscuits every morning. So this looks about good to me, if you can see that. The next thing we're going to do is add 3/4 cup of buttermilk. Now I like to use a full fat buttermilk. You can do what you want. I just think it tastes better. If you do not use soft winter wheat flour, you will probably use a full cup of buttermilk. There is a difference in the flours, and sometimes, you know, I look and see, do I think this is going to be wet enough? What you want, and where people fall down on the biscuit making, I'm using a wooden spoon by the way, people don't realize what they're looking for. They think sometimes they're looking for a bread dough or a pie dough. Biscuit dough is wet, and we don't want to fuss with it too much because we don't want to make a tough biscuit. So it's not like bread, which you need and you need and you need. Pasta, you also need a lot and manipulate a lot. But biscuits are delicate. We want to keep them fluffy. Now I've got one really messy hand because I'm using my wooden spoon and getting in there with my hand. And now I'm going to take, see how nicely it's already formed. It's kind of a winning combination. 2 cups of flour, 3/4 buttermilk, 6 tablespoons of butter. And by the way, that butter is unsalted. I add my salt myself. That's how I do all of my cooking and all of my baking. Now look how nice that is. At this point, if you thought it was just a little too sticky to cut out, you can get a little flour. Now this is not perfectly formed. You see that? Because these are biscuits and these are homemade, and we're not going to play with them. People that play with their biscuit dough, they're going to have a tough biscuit. No one will be happy. I want you to be happy. I'm going to use the palm of my hand. This is my rolling pin, and I'm going to pat out about an 8-inch disc, and I measured it, so I know it's 8 inches. Kind of gives me the right height to start with, and I want it all even. I want the middle, the edges, everything even. And I can even bring that out and I can show that to you. And again, don't look for perfection. Look for perfect taste, fluffiness. That's what you want to look for. Now I'm going to take my cast iron griddle. You can use a cast iron pan. You can use a cookie sheet. I cook with a lot of cast iron. Highly recommend it. This is going to go right in the oven at 450 degrees. And I always start in the middle. It's something I like to do. Hopefully, we got a great biscuit there. Look at that. Now we're going to go all the way around. I like to use this side of the biscuit cutter straight up and down. Makes for the right biscuit. I'm just going to kind of push this together gently. I'm not going to play around. Don't play around with the leftover dough. Just pull it back together because we want these to be just as good as those first ones that we took out. We're going to get about 10 biscuits. So you probably have to make a double batch if you have a big family because these will go fast. I can promise you that. Now this is what I've done. I've made these biscuits kiss. It's called kissing the biscuit. When they touch, it helps them to rise, and that's what we want. I'm going to brush them with some milk because that helps brown them a little bit. I'm going to put them in the oven for 15 minutes. Check at 13. 15 seems to be just right for me, but my oven is different, and I've made biscuits in other people's ovens, and at 15 they burn, so check at 13. I'm going to put these in the oven, and I'm going to show you what they look like in 15 minutes. I've just pulled these biscuits out of the oven, and I'm going to brush a little bit of butter on the top because I think that just tastes really good. And then we're going to open up a biscuit and see how good they taste. Let's get this one. Gotta cut it. Steam is coming out. It's fluffy, pillowy, and I'm going to put some honey. I'm going to just drizzle some honey right on there and make a honey sandwich. Now this is the way my husband likes it. He's from the South, and actually the whole reason I decided to learn how to make biscuits is he had just a great childhood memory of his meemaw up in East Tennessee on the farm making biscuits when they used to spend their summers up there. Now there's that beautiful, beautiful biscuit. What I've shown you is my basic buttermilk biscuit recipe. Stay tuned for more recipes from tastingnashville.com.